Cape House Cooking. I'm Sue Barlow. Today we're making chili, a delicious chili with beans and beef, and Tom and I have been trying to cut back a little bit on our meat. So I've sort of cut in half the meat that I would normally use in the past and doubled up on the beans. It's also a money saver and a little bit better for your health. So we're going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil in our pan. Put that on medium heat. And I have a pound of ground beef, and when this heats up, we're going to just put in half of that amount. Okay. I'm also going to put in, this is a pretty big onion. I do like the flavor of onions, but I don't think I'm going to put the whole onion in. I think I'll put a half. You could put a whole onion in if you want to, but I think I'm just going to put half an onion in today. Sometimes it can be a little overpowering. You know what I mean? This is a great way to make a quick meal and to use up the cans of beans that you might have on hand. And you can make it as spicy or as mild as you like. So certainly add what you enjoy. And chili's a funny thing because some people like it, you know, more liquidy, and some people like it, you know, thicker. Heat this up, get our onion going. Go. So, and I had a red onion on hand, but you could certainly use a yellow onion or a Vidalia onion, which is a little bit sweeter. These are a little bit sweeter. I just happen to have this one on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. There we go. We can set this aside, and we're going to just stir this around in this hot oil for a little bit. Oh, probably just 2 to 3 minutes. Get it cooking. Kind of like it to be translucent and softer. That's pretty much how you know that onion's cooked. So we're just going to saute this onion a little bit, about 5 minutes on medium heat. Seems like everybody has a chili recipe that they like. There's chili contests, chili cook-offs. So you can get your chili recipe really good. You can even send it out into a competition if you like. So now we're going to add the half a pound of burger. This is, I think, 90% lean. You can use 85-15 or 80-20 gets a little bit too greasy, I think. You might have to drain the fat if you use something a little bit too much fat in the content. So this is 90-10, so I shouldn't have any problem with you know, it being too greasy once I mash it up. Now we're just going to mash this up. Make sure all the hamburger gets cooked and browned. And this probably takes about 5 or 6 minutes. All right, so we have the ground beef, nice and browned. That took about 5 minutes. And the onion is nice and browned. I'm going to bring this over here to do it. Normally I would do it on the stove if I was just cooking by myself. But since I'm trying to film this, I thought I would put it over here so you could see it better. So now we're going to add some chili powder. And this is 2.5 tablespoons of chili powder. It's going to go in. Mix that around a little bit. Wow, you can smell that already. Fantastic. You're going to get that nice rich color from it too. If you can see that, it's just a beautiful, beautiful color. All right, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I love this sweetness in it. I know some people, maybe you don't like it. You could just do 1 tablespoon of sugar or leave the sugar out, but I love the sugar in this recipe. Something about it with all the other spices that just make it so delicious. So give it a try if you haven't tried putting sugar in before. And 2 tablespoons of ground cumin. Put a couple of tablespoons of that in. 1, and I love cumin. It's one of my absolute favorite spices. It's kind of citrusy and spicy. Almost a lime flavor to it, which I love adding lime into Mexican food and chilies. Fantastic. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And the garlic powder, again, all my favorite ingredients here. I love garlic powder. It just makes sauces and different things taste so fabulous. So we've got our 1 tablespoon of garlic powder added in. And it's really dark and beautiful now. Just lovely. You can see that. It's just beautiful. The color and the smell. I'm going to show you a little trick that I do. So this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. So what I like to do is take my big can of tomato paste, my 15-ounce can or whatever, and I just drop it by tablespoons onto a cookie sheet or a large plate, and I stick it in the freezer, and then I just freeze it in those sections and then put it in a baggie. And that way I don't have to, waste the whole can or worry about using up a whole can or buy the more expensive little cans. And that way I always have a couple of tablespoons on hand whenever I need it. So this looks like it's probably about, 2 tablespoons. Sometimes I do littler ones, smaller ones with 1 tablespoon, and sometimes I do just bigger ones because I'm going to put it in a spaghetti sauce. It doesn't really matter. So I think that one ought to do it. Throw that in there, and that will melt as we get going. We're going to put 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I have my salt. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And you can add some cayenne pepper. Now I'm making this for my husband who does not like spicy food, so we're skipping the cayenne pepper. But if you wanted to, you could put a 1/4 teaspoon in or more. Depends how hot you like it. I'm just going to stir this around. Not going to worry about that frozen tomato paste right here. It's going to melt. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth. It's just canned beef broth. You can buy it in a can or one of those big boxes, however you like. And again, you might want to adjust that depending if you like it very thick or a little bit thinner. It's all up to you. And then I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes. These are great diced tomatoes because they have some green chilies in them. So that's going to add some extra flavor. But if you just have regular diced tomatoes without green chilies, that's totally fine. Just put them on in, mix it around. And then I'm going to add 1 8-ounce cup of tomato sauce. And this is just actually sauce I had left over from something else I made. So I'm just going to put that in. You can just use a can of tomato sauce, but I just happen to have it and I'd like to get it used up. And then chili is a perfect way to use up extra ingredients. A little bit of ground beef left over. Anything like that. And now, like I said, I'm going to put in double the beans. So I've taken 1 can of red kidney beans, and I've taken 1 can of black beans because I love black beans. And I just like how they kind of fit in to the mixture of the red beans. They're just smaller and they just sort of fit in all the spaces. And I'm just gonna, I had rinsed those and drained those. Oh, lovely. And now we're just gonna put this back on the stove, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down and let it simmer for about a half an hour. And then you have fantastic chili. All right. So now this has come to a boil, so I'm going to turn it down, give it a couple stirs, turn it down to low, and let it cook and simmer for about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And it will be ready. And it will be a little bit less liquidy, so it'll have cooked off some of this liquid. So you can see the steam coming out of it. It will be perfect. That's basically all there is to making some of the best chili I think you're ever going to eat. Like I said, if you like it hotter, spice it up a little bit. Throw in that cayenne pepper, get a jalapeno pepper, chop it up and throw it in with those onions. And you can just knock your socks off with the heat. But unfortunately, we're a mild household here, and we're just going to do it kind of the bland way, but still so flavorful. So flavorful, you won't believe it. And once you cook this down, it will get a little bit thicker consistency. If you don't want it that thick, you can add more beef broth to it to thin it out a little bit. And I find leftover chili, I put it in a little taco shell and put some cheese on it, put it in the oven, take it out. And it's great to make it your base of your homemade tacos or taco night. Well, the timer just went off, so it's been simmering about 25-30 minutes. So we're going to turn it off and give this a test and a taste test. Oh, that looks lovely. That looks great. I've got my little bowl right here. Ladle some out. Beautiful. Just beautiful. All right. And there it is. It's lovely. And now we can dress it if we want. You can certainly eat it as is, but if you would like a little extras on top, some people do, you can add a little cheese. This is some shredded cheddar cheese. Makes that delicious. A few raw of the onions diced up, just a couple of pieces of that. And then you can do a little dollop of sour cream in there. So here it is, all put together. Now the taste test. Ooh, that looks so good. Just the right amount of beef and bean. We've got the black beans, the red kidney beans. Now this is comfort food. It's filling and delicious. Fantastic. But I want to show you another little thing that you can do with your chili. So I brought out a couple of taco shells and I've been preheating the oven. So if you just use a slotted spoon and you take out some of this, I need this one, goodness, and you just kind of let some of the liquid get away. Put that in your taco shell. That looks good. All right, and then we'll just put a little cheese on there. Depends how much cheese you like. And then just pop them in the oven. Watch out, cupcake. Oh, it only takes 1 or 2 minutes for the cheese to melt. The chili's already hot. If you had it left over and it was cold, you'd want to make sure that heated up too. And then we can dress that up with some salsa. I have just a jar of salsa that I had left over, so I can put that on top. And again, the sour cream mixing with the cheese and the chili and the salsa and the taco shell. Delicious. Let me get a plate for that. I'm excited. So there's more than one way to use up this chili. Wonderful. My little dog Cupcakes thinks it smells good, but it's a little too spicy for her. Although she'd probably eat it. Let's see how these are doing. 1 more second. And we can get them out, dress them up, and then I get to eat a taco too. Look at that. Beautiful. So I think I'll put a little salsa in. Love salsa, and you can make your own salsa. We'll have to do a show on that, on how to make your own salsa. You probably will never buy jarred salsa again. You know, these things that come in a jar or pre-made, you know, they're convenient. But there's nothing like homemade, and some things are just so easy that we don't even realize how few ingredients go in or how fast it is to make it. Oh, this looks good. Taco night. I'm ready. Well, thanks so much for watching this episode of Cape House Cooking, and I'll see you next time.